This is the only English presentation, so at least it's like a little bit of more international notion then. And for me, it's a special occasion because I remember many years ago, I was co-founding Holla in Slovakia. And our first conference was really big one. We had Frank Solis, those of you that are old enough as I am. Remember him as the chief architect of IS 400. So he attended our first meeting, and that was amazing. You know, suddenly we had such guy attending our conference, and since that time I'm always participating as much as I can. In a couple of years later, is it a spider? If so, please kill it or what? Okay, it's a bitty spider. Okay, so when I was thinking, let me try this. This works? No? Which one?
Sorry, that's mine.
That's yours. Very good. It's always a little bit of troubles. I will change it manually. So when I was asking what would be the main topic, I was told it's open source, and I said, well, open source, it's really a broad term, right? And you can imagine open source in relation to many more things. So will it work now? Like this? Yeah, right. Okay. Maybe. Right. Maybe actually call this in grammar. I was thinking about the title and one more, maybe. Yeah, good. So which one is it? Right. Okay. So I was thinking, because I'm very big fan of fantasy books and science fiction. I thought, well, power beyond imagination. It's like different superpowers, and thank God the platform also has this name. So it's like multi-dimensional thing that you can think about superpowers in relation to our platform. So today I would like to talk about open source in different contexts, because we have by now in our region, in North, Central and Eastern Europe, a lot of experience, our own experience with modernization. So I thought, well, let's start with modernization. I'm not doing something. Okay, I will do it like that. Okay, thank you. So I was thinking about modernization because that would plug in everything. It's not just about the first plan that IBM is typically talking about. We want the clients to move to cloud. That's part of the story, but that's much more. So first, it needs to be understood what's possible, the art of possible, the art of open. First needs to be assessed. So, and then right pattern choice chosen. So whether you would like to really move to cloud your applications or surround them with something. But it's not only about cloud, it's about new things that we are running on Power. And I will try to tell you as many examples as I can from my own experience. Right, so I'm using also corporate slides, that's inevitable. But some of them were put together by myself just to underscore what we are doing in SE. So next slide, please. That's an honor. So this is typical scenario, and we went through this several times, and I can give you right away two examples when, two different examples of modernization. It's from Slovakia, because as we say, I have it under my nose, so I'm participating in those a little bit more. This is a corporate slide, but I think that I would agree with it 100%, because it's very easy to build something on a greenfield, right? But to do something with the existing infrastructure is not so easy. And so with one of the clients, it's public client in Slovakia, I cannot tell the name yet, but we are heading there. we were starting to talk about modernization, we were starting to talk about how to tidy up their environment, because they are serving different users, different and even citizens, and they have different applications. Each application requires different infrastructure, different software, hardware. So they said, well, we would like somehow to harmonize the whole environment. And after, well, don't take me wrong, it didn't take 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it was months of discussions. They decided that they will give it a try with OpenShift. So we did a couple of proof of concepts, and now it's basically the standard in the company. And we are co-architecting the whole infrastructure for them. So for power, it was one of the typical use cases where the front-end part of the traditional application was re-architected and it's running as cloud native right now. And another example of modernization is also from Slovakia. It's a bank. These guys were running a MongoDB for document processing, and they were running the enterprise edition. And at a certain point in time, they decided that they would go with the open source, with community edition. And then why not on Power? Because, well, if they are trying to lower the cost, then it might be a good idea to use Power as a more powerful platform and save more. And that exactly was true. I'm not saying that it was right away. We had to do some performance tuning. Although mostly on the storage side, but now it's running like community edition on Power, and more workloads are being considered to be added. Okay, let's go. So the idea, and this is very corporate slide, and I don't like it because it's so colorful, but I didn't find anything more decent. So that's exactly something that I was talking about, that with Power workloads, it's easy to combine. Once you decide, and once it's running, and once you have everything in place, then it's really nice to have it deployed on a single server. And as I said, it's not only to move to cloud, it's to add new workloads in terms of new databases. It's adding AI, and I will talk about AI as well, because we have really a lot of successful stories also here in NCE. And it's primarily because I have really great team. Specifically, I have great subject matter experts. One of them is just excellent when it comes to porting. So anything that we have like challenge with any kind of open source piece, he just takes it and port it and so on and so forth. I will point to a couple of icons here once we are going through the presentation. So a couple of examples that are, I mentioned those that are, that were from my country, but I have a couple of those that are European, and just by coincidence, it's a mix of OpenShift and AI. The SKM is, for me, interesting one, because it also underscores the snowball effect. So SKM is a company that is doing a sound analysis. And they were having use cases of partners that they were working with, analyzing the sound of engines, so the aircraft engines, for some potential problems with the engines. And then an interesting case with corking bottles on a conveyor to figure out whether the bottles are okay or not. And they were thinking, yeah, it would be nice to create an AI platform where we could get more companies like this working with us on a sound analysis. And so together with IBM team, they designed the AI platform using Kubeflow for the CI/CD pipelines. And what they liked specifically was that we have something that we call train bursting. So if as your pipeline goes, then when you need to train, then you would send parameters to the defined or predefined x86 server with GPUs for training. Results would get back and your pipeline continues. So that's a nice feature that would make the whole thing very smooth. It was implemented in the cloud. so Power VM with OpenShift. And then they were thinking, yeah, well, that's pretty good project. So let's think how to put more on Power. And so when we announced the support for .NET, then they moved some .NET applications to Power from Azure. And thinking beyond imagination, they added also some more applications from different business areas. So this is how it evolves. This is how, when you would get a proof that it works, that you have a really good performance, then you can add more and more in a pretty safe environment. Like, the one before. Yeah, that's what CSI is doing as well, because they have banking clients and they offer environment for different tests. So if someone wants to implement something new in their environment, they would be one of those to reach. Okay. So this is really a slide that, well, for me, it's a combination of closed and closed license and open source distribution, but we support really a lot of packages, and I also put this new thing here, and I will talk about it in a few minutes. So we are back to MariaDB Enterprise Edition. Not sure whether all of you noticed, but we were supporting MariaDB Community Edition normally. And Odoo is a new ISV, and I will talk about them a little bit more because that's really an interesting story when it comes to the open source. So, yeah, we can continue. And Maciek said that, well, we would like to talk maybe more about open source, but IBM is not new in this battlefield. And I was thinking that maybe it would be nice to talk about this because we were co-founders of Linux Foundation, of Apache Software Foundation, and Eclipse Foundations. We invested intellectual property, money, of course, and also worked on defining of different standards. So we were working with these companies, and we continue, right? We support many of projects. If you think about machine learning, that's really open. So we cooperate with different vendors, with different communities, I would say in this case, like with PyTorch, for example. And we also open our Granite LLM that is part of watsonx. So it's like mutual cooperation, mutual giving and taking. And then, of course, cloud, working with Docker and Kubernetes, and contributing as well with our stuff. And then I will mention Quantum as well, because I'm also Quantum ambassador, although in Poland you have a lot of them. But Quantum is also an example because the programming language that is used to program Quantum servers is open source. We open it. So we have a lot of Qiskiters, it's called Qiskit, and Qiskiters are using it not only with IBM Quantum, but with different other quantum computers. So I just wanted to mention Quantum as well. So this is the selection of different, how to say, not sure whether applications, it's just different kind of pieces, right? I would like to point to Milvus DB, and that was something that came from Poland, actually, from Maciek. He said, well, we would need Milvus DB in a project. Do we support it? I said, well, not aware of it. So my SME took it, ported it, and now he works with Rocket CE, because Rocket CE is a company that actually is taking the open source software, mostly related to AI and specifically to Gen AI. They are making it, they are supporting it, so it's like open source with support, and also making sure that it can leverage the features of Power, which is the on-chip acceleration. So that's Milvus, and the same SME is working also on ArangoDB, which is the new database that we support, although that is closed distribution. It's not open source, but it's, again, art of possible. If you have something that is not running, that it's not available, just let us know. It was maybe the same story with Mongo. that I mentioned, the client said, well, but I cannot find the power image anywhere. And so we provided it, right? So it's really, I mean, let's give it a try, cannot lose anything. And then I added Odoo to the list of applications. So if we go to the next slide, we would see something that I was amazed with earlier this month. So Odoo is an interesting company. The guy who founded it, I mean, I was reading his story, and as a student, he founded a company that he had in mind. He would like to, he wanted to build an ERP system that would be open. And so, you know, and that's also something like a student's mind. He bought a domain, sorrysub.com. And so I was laughing on it, but anyway, they call him Belgian Bill Gates because it's headquartered in Belgium. And we were the official contributor to their open source version, the community version of Odoo for, I don't know, maybe a year, right? And then we were thinking, right, yeah, they are serving primarily very small clients, right? So it's really hard to figure out how to really continue. But then they reached out and they say, well, you know, we would like to reach to maybe larger clients, or we would like to give providers and ourselves the possibility to support applications more effectively. How they work, it's really an interesting construction as well, because they develop the core system, and then all implementations, all adjustments, all pieces that are built on top are done by partners, solely by partners. So the ratio between Odoo and partner code is 80-20. Typical, not always, but typical. So these guys have now almost 3,000 partners worldwide. I started the discussion with some of them when I was attending this event. It was in Brussels Expo, and there were 25,000 people there, so not really a small one. And they gave us 30 minutes to talk about power, and then, like a bomb, during the main tent, they showed this, and this is their CTO. And I said, well, if you want to run it fast, more effectively, just use power. And that was amazing. So it's a really nice example how we are working together. Now we are still finalizing the reference architecture and working on a cookbook how to install it in Power BS. And let's see. But nice example of cooperation with open source. This is another example. It's the Oregon State University that supports developers, so that they give developers the space where to develop stuff, and they added Power 10 into their open power small cluster that they had, and they installed KVM on top of Power VM because KVM is back. Although it's not supported in the same way as it was, now it's sitting on top of Power VM, but good stuff. Good, and this is the example that Maciek also mentioned with the startups. So there was an interesting event. It was the European Match Day in Malmö in Sweden, where we participated with a small team from, well, one of my SMEs and a Swedish team. And there were corporations invited, and also startups. And we got the menu, like, okay, you can pre-select those startups that you would like to work with, so that there would be some outcome. And so we selected about 10 startups to discuss, and we follow up with 3 of them. I just didn't want to mention them right away, but one is doing a really cool chatbot. One is doing the speech-to-text, like the device that is listening between the conversation between doctor and patient, and is filling in some papers that the doctor would have to type anyway. And the third one is interesting because they do small hardware as well. They have sensors that they would put in a storage room with groceries, and that the different parameters are being evaluated in the cloud, and then the alert is being sent to the responsible person that, hey, your apples are going to get rotten, do something with them, like donate or whatever, so to avoid waste. So that's really nice, and in terms of AI, well, Power was around AI when we started with accelerated servers, and then we decided, yeah, you know, with GPUs, it's cool, and well, don't take me wrong, I just believe in GPUs. They are really great when it comes to HPC and AI, but especially for the training of large language models. And we were kind of struggling with AI, then the Gen AI came, and then boom, suddenly AI is everywhere. And I believe that it also takes some time. Every new technology takes time until, yeah, there is some breakthrough, there is some aha moment, yes, I can use it. So we are working a lot with Gen AI use cases. We can go to the next slide. And we actually support everything on Power. I'm not saying everything right away. In some cases, we need to sweat t-shirts a little bit. But basically, you see also Melbus with 2 stars, so it means it's like under development, but it's under development only when it comes to support and the use of acceleration, because with every Power 10 you are getting accelerated server, right? It's not GPU accelerated, but it's accelerated. So we support also our Cloud Pak portfolio. Cloud Pak for data is maybe something that still needs to have some components, but these are still due either this year or early next year. So I'm really happy that now the focus on porting on Power is really very, very strong. I can see they work closely with the global team. They asked us in NCEE to cooperate not only because we can give them specialists, they can help them in porting, in performance, fine-tuning, in whatever, in this area, but also collecting feedback. Because, yeah, I mean, not every use case is rosy. We also had a couple of use cases where we were not able to meet the requirements. Like, for example, we were working with one client where he had the requirements to have response time for the prompt answering below 5 seconds. We were at 8, so close enough, but we said, okay, probably doesn't make sense for Power. But I would say 95% of use cases are good. So if you go to the next slide, the reason for Power, and this is going to continue with P11. By the way, this week there will be, or there is a tech exchange, really huge event in Las Vegas, probably some of you know, and there will be a lot of interesting pre-announcements there. So there will be pre-announcement of P11, then specifically they said one hour session just on the memory improvements. So I'm just, I can't wait. And so the MMA will continue. And it's not just the MMA, right? It's also the large memory, because this was something that we were talking about also when we had GPU accelerated servers, right? That the memory where you need to put the model and the data set needs to be really big enough to cram big enough data in there. Okay, so this is the example from Hungary. We did it in summer. It took us 4 days to fine-tune the performance. They came to us and said, well, we would like to test Power because, you know, we developed this tool, but GPU seems really an overkill. And so we did it, and now they offer their solution for different industries as a ready-made solution on Power. The next one is the example from Saudi. But my SME was working on this and helping with the performance, the fine-tuning, so he was working closely with Montpellier team on this one. Chatbot, where they also wanted to avoid GPUs, and they said, well, if you are able to get to this response time, then we go with you. And now they are referenced, so I mean, they are happy, and they are working on another case as well. These are the use cases that are not from our region, but I was quite involved in the first one, in the case in the hospital, because it is a combination of image recognition and speech-to-text, so Gen AI, where it was developed for pathologists. So the pathologist would inspect the sample, and then he or she would dictate what he or she sees, and it would fill in some specific papers that needs to be sent to different institutions, right? And the system is being retrained once a quarter. They use again x86 for it, with 2 GPUs. But when we discussed it, it could be possible really to use those existing power servers for training, because it really doesn't require really big speed. But obviously this is like 24 hours too. So it's 24 hours, 7 days a week online. And the image recognition, the inferencing is running on power. And so that was something that we wanted to replicate with hematologists in Slovakia, but then we were told, and again, this is something that did not fly, because the doctor told us, well, I do not really want the patient always to hear what I would type in. So, but pathologists obviously can do it. In the MSP case in New Zealand is something that I could only dream of. Like several public institutions having the same kind of chatbot available for citizens. So there's really one big LLM behind the scenes, and each institution is using vector database such as Milvus for storing specific information so that it can be combined before the final answer is given. So this is also an interesting case. Good. So I would like to maybe encourage you. So what we do is not only that we are doing different kind of work with porting, with performance fine-tuning. We have really a lot of experience, local experience. And we have great team here in Poland as well. We have really great team in client engineering, and they were also doing quite some good work with power. So what client engineering can do is not only to take your already a ready-made business case or ready-made model and run it on power, but they can figure out together with you what could be done. So this is what we are doing, like workshops. Currently we are running, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4 of them across my territory with different clients that would like to understand what AI could do for them. And we would even develop the first project together with them. Good, next one. Okay, so that was the AI, that was the open source, different databases, applications, examples that I had the chance to encounter. And these 2 things are going to be also subject of discussion during the Tech Exchange, because these are new announcements. Talent 2 is basically the MMA version that is available on Z. Inspire is the off-chip accelerator that is at the moment available on Z, but I won't really wait for what is going to be taught in Vegas. I expect this to be also discussed in connection with power, so that we would have on-chip and off-chip acceleration in a certain time frame. And speaking of IBM, and this is a keynote, so I can afford to do a little bit more than just power. And I hope that this will be available on power as well. It's a completely new kind of off-chip acceleration. It's a new card. The first project called True North was the first IBM neuromorphic chip. And this one is the second generation, which is going to be also offered commercially. So if you look at this chart, you would see a comparison between server with the North Pole AIU and basically standard x86 server with 4 GPUs. So if you look at the y-axis, you would have tokens per second per card / watts per card. So the higher energy consumption, then the number is lower, right? So the most energy efficient card is the green line, right? And you can see that with the North Pole, which had below 1 millisecond response time, you can see the huge difference in how the GPUs are behaving and how this new AI behaves. Okay, and then quantum. I would like to also draw your attention that we do a lot in quantum, and there will be a nice event in Warsaw later this quarter, focused on quantum safe. So if you would like to understand what threat quantum computers represent to every business related to cryptography, then I encourage you to join, because there will be a demonstration of how Power can run the new algorithms that were approved by the US authority called NIST. So you would see how the new algorithms are running on Power. So it is related to Power as well. So that's it. I hope